What up, y'all? So, I want to talk about mental health, addiction, and all the stuff that I always talk about on this channel. But we'll start with all of the mental health and depression and stuff like that. You gotta fucking go get therapy. That's where you gotta start. I promise you it's worth it. I promise you getting help is worth it. You have to fucking find the core of what it is that makes you want to do terrible things in the first place, what it is that makes you feel empty or feel the need to have to fill a hole up in the first place. Where's the depression come from? Where's the anxiety come from? Why are you doing substances and shit like that in the first place if you're also struggling with that? All of that kind of stuff really is important to get down to the bottom of. And obviously, it's good to go get a therapist because in a way they're not able to judge you because they don't know you well enough, right? It's that unbiased opinion. It's that objective thinking opinion that's not gonna have the bias towards it. So it's important to go get that. It's important to be able to receive that because so many people perceive you in a certain way when they've known you or when they've been around you for your whole life and shit like that. They'll perceive you a different way and shit like that. It's just how it is. It's just the way that it goes. Got this fucking glare coming from the fucking lights, whatever. But yeah, that perception that other people already have of you makes it difficult to give unbiased advice because they know what you've done the last times they gave you advice and stuff, and now they're probably not going to trust that you're going to take it, especially if you're one of those people that didn't take the advice a lot. They're not going to be able to want to give it to you the same way anymore. So now you got to talk to a shrink or a therapist or whatever you want to call them because other people are too biased to fucking properly help you now because of your own actions and shit like that. So that's where that part really comes in, and that's why it's important to do that, is because you have to have that unbiased perspective to really get the perception of yourself that will allow you to fucking fix those things and see them in a different light and see yourself in a different light. Sometimes it takes a person that doesn't know you to tell you those things. I know in my life, people that I knew forever could glaze me on anything all the time, and I'll just be like, yeah, whatever. Good enough, I guess. Blah, blah. But it's like the second that people I didn't know started supporting me and like started seeing a vision inside of the stuff that I've done throughout my life and shit, that's when it really meant the most to me. It's because I knew if I could impact total strangers with the stuff that I do, that was the true impact. Because the people that are around you your whole life, they're never gonna necessarily feel it the same way that somebody that is viewing you from a totally outside perspective would. They're not going to perceive you that same way. So it's good to have both sides. It's good to have the people close to you that'll keep it real as fuck with you and keep that raw shit on you. And then it's good as fuck to have the people like a therapist that he's not there to be mean or they're not there to be nice. They're just there to tell you exactly what the fuck you need to hear, right? So you have to have both sides of it when it comes to that equation of this whole thing. When it comes to the emotionally dealing with it without your therapist and stuff, like moments where you're alone, where you can't be like blowing your fucking therapist phone up all the time or whatever. I don't have a therapist. I've gone to therapy a lot of times, just long enough to fucking keep myself alive, basically. But I've gone to therapy many times, and I always had the really best conversations with my therapist. I enjoyed going and talking to them. I would take in my notebooks and like let them read my poetry and my raps and my music and stuff like that. And they would assess it and use it to help treat me because they could see the poetic side of the danger and the chaos and the fucked up life that I was living at the time. And then they could take that, and it allowed them to view it in a perspective where they could see that I was very self-aware and just bad at making decisions, right? And that was the conclusion that a lot of therapists in my older years came to when I would have to go to therapy or be stuck in the psych ward for a couple days or whatever, or rehab, wherever it was that I was. Fucking, I would always have the clarity by the end of it that I was self-aware. That was the conclusion they would always draw. So I took that self-awareness and I had to learn how to fucking apply it to not being destructive instead of being awarely destructive, right? And destructive awareness is worse than if you're just clueless and destructive, right? Destructive awareness is dangerous. Like, I was just fucking shit up all over, dude. It was bad. It was really bad. I was fucking shit up all over the place. No matter where I went, it was fucking mayhem. And I brought it with me. And I think making it through those things taught me that it's good to be dangerous, but it's not good to be angry all the time. That's what you really have to learn. It's fantastic to be dangerous, but it is really not a good thing to be angry all the time, you know? I think that's important to realize. I think that that's one of the emotional things you have to learn to manage when you come out of addiction, because addiction just makes you a pissed off person all the time. You got to realize that that pissed off energy is not what you want, bro. That's not how you want to live, and that's not the way you want to do shit, man. You got to try to spread the positive vibes as much as possible. You can't be positive all the time. Even the lightest of the light people have their dark days. It's everybody goes through it, but you just got to try to find that fucking positivity, man. Not be so angry and so mad all the time. So pissed off about shit all the time. Smile about something. Find something happy to do. Find hobbies. Sing. Pick up an instrument. Do whatever it is that'll help you. Go camping. Pick up new hobbies. Go fishing. Fucking take up a sport. Anything and everything. Exercise. Whatever. Just do something that isn't bad shit. I mean, at the worst periods, I'm going to tell you guys this honestly, because it's really fucking a lot, and I haven't really said much about it on here. My first addiction ever, when I was just a kid, it's like 12 or 13 years old. My first ever addiction was self-harm. I was obsessed with cutting myself and hurting myself. And that lasted up into my adult years as well. Till the very last few months that I was doing drugs, before I quit doing the drugs and shit like that. The very, very last few months before that, I was going through some really, really wild stuff with the drugs and with the alcohol, and just dealing with what am I going to do with my music and all of the fucking shit that was going on in my life was stacking up, and I didn't know what route to take at all whenever it came to my life. So I was just actively trying to end myself at the time. And there was this one night where shit got really bad. I got really fucking drunk and I got really fucked up on pills. And I remember cutting myself like 40 fucking times and then waking up on the floor just covered in fucking blood. And that shit carried on into my 20s. Like I said, I was probably 24 whenever that one happened, and that was the last time I self-harmed, because I was surprised that I woke up with how much blood there was after I did. It was really bad. It was fucking crazy. It's just cuts like all up and down both arms and on my stomach. Anywhere that there could be, actually. They were all over. It was really fucked up. So I know what it's like to be on the worst side of the worst. I've been more of a danger to my own self than any other human man or woman could ever fucking muster. And I still survived me. And I think that most addicts have a similar story. I'm more dangerous to myself than anybody else is to me, and it's always been that way. And even I couldn't end me. That's the conclusion I reached after so many years of life. God must have a plan, and that's about it. God has a plan for you. Don't give up. I love you guys. Have a blessed night.